Alrighty, Bachelor for Life here. I'm going to do an axe video this time. I had had a friend of mine lend me 3 axes, Tomahawks, to go over, and then I've got mine here. Most of these I use for throwing. This one is a Cobalt I got from Lowe's. It's actually, believe it or not, it's probably one of the easiest throwers that I have. Even with the rubberized grip, it's kind of got like an overstrike protection here because it's like a plastic plus this rubber here. So if you miss or you hit edge, it just kind of bounces back. That one's a good one. Good steel, still fairly sharp. I threw this about, I don't know, 50 or 60 times the other night. I haven't sharpened it yet. This one's basically it was brand new when I threw it. Still got the sticker and stuff on it. I've got a Estwing here that I've had for some time. This one I really don't actually like it as much. I'm not sure. The rubber handle's good. The small blade, it's about 2.5, 3 inches or so. It more often than not just kind of bounces, and I don't know. Even if you hit it right on the edge, it seems like the prime spot for it to stick is like this into the wood. This little edge, I can get it to hit and then roll, and then it wedges itself in. Not a huge fan. The spike is awesome. You can puncture. I've punctured a 55-gallon drum with it, and then I kind of sharpened it up a little bit. But it's pretty powerful spike. But it just not my favorite throwing axe, and it doesn't cut for shit. So this one is a Husqvarna. I bought this probably 15 years ago. It's got a hickory, hickory handle and everything. I like the design. It's really cool. I like the curve in it. When you throw it, it's got a huge like lob. The weight just kind of spins, and when it comes around with some force. The only problem I've really had with it is with the wood. There are a couple of splits and stuff in it just from throwing and missing, and not hitting quite on target. But I did put a little wrap around it because I actually use this to chop some wood. But Husqvarna one's okay. Not my favorite either. This one is probably the best thrower that I got. This one also an Estwing. You find that almost everybody and their brother owns one of these. You can get them just about anywhere. As far as the blade's concerned, I beat the hell out of that thing. I've been throwing this for a lot of years. Leather is kind of coming loose here, but it's still hanging on. I probably could beat those down a little bit, heat them up, beat them down a little bit, but yeah, why do that? Once it falls off, I'll probably just wrap it with paracord or something. But yeah, that's my S-Wing. This one's got a nice curved handle as well, which is really nice for throwing. It comes out of your hand really easy. This is a new addition. I haven't thrown this. I haven't done anything to this one yet. Still brand new. Still sharp. Still got the nice shiny like laminated coating or whatever they put on it, probably to keep it from rusting. It's probably the biggest axe that I own. I dig it. Haven't thrown it yet. I probably will soon. This one kind of bought for its style. I haven't thrown it or done anything with it. This one I was just going to deck out with a leather wrap, leather overstrike. I was going to sharpen it up, shine it up a little bit. Probably give the spike on the back a little meaner grind. I like that because it's just kind of cool. It reminds me of Assassin's Creed 3, which is a video game I played a while back. But it's still a little cheapy. I got off on Amazon. Another one of my axes that I've never used before is my SOG. This thing comes sharp out of the box. I'm sure it's fun as hell to throw. I just haven't used it yet because I don't want to ruin it. I love it. Next one up belongs to a friend of mine. It's the Cold Steel Trench Hawk. This one's also new. He hasn't used this one yet. Still got a little bit of grease on it from the packing. It's got a oh, whatever, I can't think of what Cold Steel calls it, but they're rubberized plastic grip. This one's a good size too, in comparison to this big Estwing. It's about the same size. Can I get that in the camera? It's about the same size as the Estwing. So I think when I do a comparison throwing, I'll probably put these guys up next to each other and just see how they go. Obviously this one, the Estwing, is a full tang. This one is just a partial tang. I guess on this axe, I guess you call it a half tang. We'll say the sheath is really, really cool for this thing. I like this. Put the spike in, flip it down, clip it in. No place to like hold it from your belt or anything like that, but still very, very cool. Another one I got here that was lended to me for this video. I can get it out of the sheath. This one looks like it's been used a little bit more. This one's a Summit Trail. Looks like he's thrown this. Might have sharpened it up a few times. A pretty good spike on it. Also like a polymer grip. Kind of lightweight, I'd say. Size comparison, you know, it's very comparable to the Estwing. Very, very comparable to the Estwing. So in a comparison throw, I'll probably toss these two and just kind of see how they match up, since they're so similar. The next one that he let me borrow is a SOG, which is a little, their little version of like a little Tomahawk or Trench Hawk. You know, I'd like to put it up against this one because I think they're similar in size, but I don't know if I can bring myself to throw it. I really don't. So I'll probably take this guy and I'll put it up against this guy here. Not a real fair comparison. Size is a little bit different. You got a little more blade on the Estwing, and you don't have a spike on the Estwing, which sometimes you do hit the back. So I think I'm going to cut away, do some throwing. It's extremely windy, but we'll give this a shot. So the first one up is the little SOG. Alright, against my better judgment, I'm going to throw my SOG. So, just for video purposes, if I miss, it's going to be a bummer. It's going to make me sad. Our next one up is going to be the Summit. Next one up is going to be the Estwing Tomahawk, Tactical Tomahawk. Alright, I'm a little crazier here. Next one's going to be the big old Estwing. I'll step back a few feet here. All right, now the Showman. We're going to do the cold steel trench hawk. Okay, so just did a little bit of throwing. Just kind of go through some of them here. Sorry, friend. Got a little paint from my target on this one. So this one actually, this was probably my second favorite thrower. This one you could just kind of lob and toss. You didn't really have to put any stank behind it. This is the SOG. I'm not even sure, I'd have to look it up, but I'll, if you have any questions, I guess, ask me, and I'll put it in the comments. So this was probably my second favorite. This guy right here, this was really, really fun to throw with the heavy pommel. It actually got a really good spin on it, so I didn't have to throw this quite as hard at all. And it actually got stuck. You can kind of see on the metal how deep it would stick. This one would stick all the way up to just about here. You can kind of see the paint on it, so all about right here. But it does get fatter, so it kind of stops. Whereas this one's very thin, or I guess ground down thinner than the other. So this one would kind of go a little bit deeper, and I don't know if that's because of the gradual edge or what. And a lot of it could be because of the weight. Overall, though, this was number one. This was number two in this competition, in the SOG competition. With that being said, jumping up to the Estwing and the Summit. So these two, this one actually kind of surprised me. I absolutely hate this Estwing. I missed a couple of times right off the bat. I didn't even show it because it just takes a minute to find your distance. This one, I was able to stick it first try. It did bounce once right in the beginning. It is kind of sharp down here on the point, but because it's curved back so much, when it hit, it looks like it hit about here. Sometimes when they hit, they'll kind of cut in and grab. This one just kind of cut, kind of tapped and then bounced, which I was kind of surprised. This one, it doesn't. I mean, if you hit here and it hits here, it's not even sharp here, so it won't stick. And if you look back in the video, most of the time when this one stuck, it stuck up like this. It very rarely sticks straight up. It face plants and then just bounces off. So I have to give this one to the Summit. So Summit wins for the Summit versus the Estwing. Even though this is overall this thing is built like a tank. It's full tang. It's got a rubberized, feels like a hammer almost. Whereas the Summit, this is all polymer. There's a tang in here that probably goes about there, somewhere where the bolt is. This one would probably not last as long. And I'm going to guess that steel's probably like an 8CR 13 or some sort of a cheap stainless, where this is like a heavy-duty carbon steel, which has already started to rust on multiple occasions, and I've had to clean it up. So for longevity, Estwing. For throwing and a little bit of fun, I'd say the Summit. Now, with these, I stood back about 12 feet. The SOGs, these were about 10. These guys right here, this is a whole nother story right here. So this was kind of my favorite portion of the competition. This S-Wing I never missed. Not one time. This thing, first throw, stuck it, buried itself all the way up into here. I never actually ended up getting a full spin on it, down or a half spin, or I never missed, to the point where it came down into here. Every time I was getting up into the meat there, which felt good. And it actually, one time, it actually kind of stuck like this, which I was surprised due to the weight, but it just buries itself in. And I wasn't really tossing that hard. I was just giving it a nice little chuck. So hard to beat. Now the cold steel, which this thing's cute. and I mean that in a very sexual way. It buried itself up to here, whole blade. When this thing went in, it just sunk in. The spike, I didn't show this in the video because it was so windy that the camera kept bouncing around, and the footage of this was really goofy. But it actually stuck. I did a full revolution, and it stuck like that, handle up in the air, blade in, spike in. So that was kind of cool. Overall, though, even though these axes, I don't have a scale here to show you, but even though these axes should be considerably different in weight, due to the fact that the Estwing is a solid construction, full tang all the way down to the tip, whereas the cold steel is, you know, only about 6-8 inches down. They throw about the same. They feel about the same weight-wise, but the cold steel is just a hair blade heavy. This one feels to be a little bit more distributed, and when you throw it, you can really, the Estwing, you can really feel it kind of float through the air, float out of your hand, and it feels good. Like, you know, as soon as it left your hand, yep, that's a hit. The cold steel, when I threw it, the first time that I threw it, I missed. I think twice, 2 or 3 times. I hit here. Sorry, friend. I also hit on the butt. So this one was a little bit harder to find the distance. We've got a little grass in there. Apologies. This one was a little bit harder. This cold steel was a little bit harder to find the distance. I had a lot of trouble finding the distance with this one. But it was about 15, 18 feet where I kind of felt the sweet spot. And then I had to be very cautious of how I released the cold steel. This grip is actually, I don't know, like pitted, I guess. I don't know, stippled, whatever the terminology would be. And it is fairly smooth. Very smooth. Anyway, it's fairly smooth, but I felt like it kind of caught on my hand. Now, you would think, with this being like a rubbery grip, it would catch more on the Estwing. And maybe it's just because I'm used to throwing hammers when I'm pissed. But, God, this is a hard one. I can't decide. Cold steel is in my heart here, and I've always wanted to throw one of these things. I've always wanted to own one. I still don't. I think I'm gonna buy one. I know I'm gonna buy one. But if I had to choose which one I would compete with, if somebody said, "Hey, let's go toe to toe," you know, I would go with the Estwing, just because it was easier to throw, and it's not even a throwing axe. So, with that being said, let me know in the comments what you think. Maybe you have a different opinion, or maybe there's somebody out there that did a better comparison video. But you can't beat an axe that buries itself that far. You really can't. So, with that being said, until next time, let me know if there's something else you want to see. Might do a couple of throwing videos with some of these other axes. If there's little information you want or whatever, send me a comment, or I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If some of this stuff, I've had it for so long, I don't know what the model number is, but I'll help you research it if you're interested in buying one. So, cool. Thanks for watching.